but everybody has some kind of untreated trauma. There's a lot of people who are trying to medicate that trauma into oblivion, who get addicted to things like heroin and end up overdosing. And truthfully, addiction is just suicide on an installment plan.
Guys, I'm going to pivot here real quick.
Well, yeah, let's.
I'm going to pivot here real quick because we do have a big event coming up. We've talked about From Shock to Awe at length. We've got some tickets for sale still. Sam, I hope you come out Wednesday the 23rd. If you're not gigging, we hope you come out and check this movie out. But on the Tower Classic Tattooing and Parlor STL phone lines, we have our man Matt Kahl joining the show. Matt, what's happening, my brother?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
We're doing great, man. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, man, it's good to be on.
We got a little St. Louis premiere From Shock to Awe next Wednesday, and just kind of want to give people a little bit of taste. We've had you on the show before back in August, I believe it was, and that was right when you guys were kind of wrapping everything up and getting ready to go do the world premiere. So for our guests that are going that don't necessarily know much about plant medicines and entheogens, and we're trying to get as many veterans and first responders and people that suffer from PTSD and depression and anxiety and addiction. We're trying to get a cacophony of people that maybe don't really know that psychedelics can be used as a medicine in a controlled setting. We want to give them a little taste of what you experienced. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Well, yeah, I started down this journey, honestly, when I tried cannabis instead of pharmaceuticals back in 2013. I was on a ton of pharmaceuticals like a lot of veterans are, and I tried to get off them with the help of cannabis. And of course, cannabis is really just the tip of the spear when it comes to plant medicines. There's so many other Schedule I medicines that help human health, especially mental health. And I started exploring things like ayahuasca and peyote, iboga, mushrooms, and MDMA. All of these were recorded in this movie, From Shock to Awe. Not every different plant medicine experience, but some of them were. The ayahuasca and MDMA, and of course cannabis. Like you mentioned, we released that on November 12th of last year, and it was released in 25 cities nationwide, and 10 locations sold out. So, and it was received very well. There was an award at Illuminate Film Festival in Sedona, Arizona for it's the Mangarama Conscious Film Award, and then at the New York Psychedelic Film and Music Festival, it won Best Documentary.
Beautiful.
So it seems like the reception has been very good, and I have high hopes. I'm really glad you guys are screening it there in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a good old time at the Tivoli, hopefully fill that thing up and try to create some, in my head, I have this thought that we're going to fill it with first responders and veterans, and then they're going to become teachers and kind of put the word out there that, we can end the stigma. Have you seen that at all? Like with, any veteran friends or any first responder friends where they have maybe partaken in some of these ceremonies and it drastically changes their outlook on life?
Absolutely. It seems like these substances really truly are life-changing, transformative experiences for a lot of people, not just veterans. Everybody has trauma. It's just a matter of whether it causes some kind of dysfunction in your life or not. But everybody has some kind of untreated trauma. There's a lot of people who are trying to medicate that trauma into oblivion, who get addicted to things like heroin and end up overdosing. And truthfully, addiction is just suicide on an installment plan. So it's really the exact same problem, and we're losing 121 individuals a day in society to suicide, 22 of which are veterans, and we lose 198 people a day to overdose. So that's like 320 people a day who are dying because of untreated trauma alone. But yeah, it seems to completely transform people's lives when they choose to undertake these experiences. and I've seen it a lot in veterans, and it's kind of amazing how many people come out of the woodwork. Like I'm out there, I'm talking about my own experiences, and people just come up to me and say, I've never really been able to tell anybody about this, but I've tried psychedelics too, and they have changed my life for the better.
Have you seen the stigma come down at all, over the last few years? Because, we kind of see it here that, obviously cannabis is now legalized, but, we're seeing Denver for psilocybin, Oregon's doing big things. In Colorado, have you kind of seen the stigma go down, or do you still feel like it's there and big as ever?
I think there's definitely a stigma still, but I definitely think that the stigma is changing and shifting, and I don't think it's nearly as big of an issue as it used to be. The Denver for psilocybin movement, we actually submitted signatures, over 9,000 signatures. We only needed 5,000, but we got some extra. Submitted 9,000 signatures just a few weeks ago, and they did some preliminary polls, and they were actually calling people at home on a landline. And I mean, how many people have landlines today?
Right.
I mean, not very many people. It's pretty much a bunch of old people. And to our surprise, over 40% of the respondents thought that it was a good idea to decriminalize psilocybin. So, and that's, we haven't even done any kind of like voter education or anything like that yet. So that's pretty good numbers right off the bat.
That's awesome. We actually had Kevin from Decrim Denver on here, and from what I understand, this is just a movement to just decriminalize the possession and maybe if you get caught with psilocybin mushrooms, you're not a criminal. Am I understanding that right? It's not necessarily like a legalization effort or a way to open a dispensary to dispense this medicine. It's just more, hey, if you're in possession of it, we're not going to throw you in a cage. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, that's totally correct. All it does is remove law enforcement's ability to be able to prosecute these crimes by limiting their budgets for it. And it also obviates the individual from being subject to prosecution as a result of possessing psilocybin mushrooms or cultivating them. It actually allows personal cultivation too.
That's awesome.
I want to talk a little bit more about From Shock to Awe. January 23rd, coming to the Tivoli, Wednesday, January 23rd. Now, there's a scene in the trailer where it's like night vision, and you can tell you guys are having quite the experience out there. Can you kind of describe what some of the ceremonies were like? What kind of take us through that a little bit without giving away too much?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, in a lot of ways, it glosses over some of the specifics of the ceremonies because the important message is what happens in our lives over the course of a couple of years as a result of these ceremonies. So a lot of the specifics are left out, but absolutely. The very first ceremony I went into, I didn't really know what to expect. I had never done ayahuasca before. This is completely outside the box. And I showed up and I went for it 100%. I ended up taking 4 cups that very first night. And even after the 4th cup, I was just kind of sitting there squirming a little bit, and I didn't feel much effect from it or anything, just like a little bit of uncomfortability. And, I just like my stomach felt a little bit uncomfortable, and I just kept shifting my position. And, I kept having like these strange, looks come over my face as I'm like trying to choke it back down. But eventually he came by and he shook some palm fronds that had been sprinkled with holy water around my head. And there was some, there was something about the sound and the sensation of the holy water touching my head that caused me, it all came up. And I grabbed the bucket and I puked extremely heartily. And it felt like years and years and years of hate and rage and just ugliness came up and deposited itself in the bottom of that bucket. And I just kind of sat there like a wet rag afterwards, just limp. And I had my head resting on the rim of the bowl, or the rim of the bucket. And I could see the light of the fire through the bucket. And it was just this black goo down there that had come out of my body, all this stuff. And it looked to me at that moment like it was like a demon or something, and it was like angry and ugly and hateful. And I realized that I had put that demon inside myself. I'm the one that did that. I took this thing and I buried it deep down inside myself. And, you know, that it had been struggling with me in an attempt to get out. And I'm desperately trying to hold on to this thing. And I had to ask, you know, why? Why are you trying to hold on to this thing? Why are you trying to stuff it down? Why are you trying to lock it away? All it's doing is hurting you. And I realized that I hadn't just done that to myself, but I'd done that to the demon too. I had wronged that demon. And
Wow.
I had to apologize, not just to myself, but I had to apologize to the demon too for doing that to it, for imprisoning it and causing it to fight me. And I asked it, I said, can you forgive me? And it just said, forgive yourself. And I stood up then and I said, is it really that easy? And it said, yes, just let go. And I said, okay. And truly after that, I really did start to let all of the baggage and the burdens that I'd carried around for years and years and years, I started to let those things go. And it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen over the course of many months. And I'm no longer the same person I used to be. I'm completely different. I look at that person in the movie and I almost don't even recognize him. I was like, wow, who the hell is that? And it's almost like all of that stuff happened to someone else, like in a different reality somewhere else. And I'm so different now that I can only really imagine what it was like back then. Even though the memories are so fresh, it seems like a dream.
Man, you know, when you hear somebody else kind of try to put the experience into words, there's some recall there with my own personal experiences with it. And I actually found myself envying everybody in the room that I participated in ceremony with, because they all spoke about this purge afterwards. I've had 2 experiences with it, and my purge doesn't come out that way. Mine goes out the exit door. And everybody was talking about, how it felt like, they were literally purging demons. They were throwing up demons. And even, so many of them said it was almost like their uvula was a clitoris. It was almost orgasmic for them to throw up like that. And I'm and so I found myself envying people that were having like really rough goes and vomiting and everything. I'm like,
I love the purge. Man,
it's very interesting how those purges go. Matt, we don't have a ton of time. We just wanted to bring you on to really get some excitement going. We've got about 3/4 of the room filled. We're trying to get as many veterans, and we're trying to show them guys like you, who were 2 hardened combat veterans who saw it all, who've done some really hard things in the name of the call of duty, and see how these different substances have helped increase happiness in your life and change your life for the better. We appreciate you coming on, man. I could talk to you about this for hours. I hope we get to meet soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to leave our fans with anything? You got anything else coming up? I think I saw you guys have maybe like a show coming up. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but like a cannabis show. Am I right? I saw something on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was approached by the Veterans Channel to be a host for their 1620 medical cannabis docuseries, which, as I'm sure some people know out there, but not everyone. 1620 is 420 in military time. So it is the chronicle of how people heal in various different locations. So far, we've been to Colorado and we've been to Oregon, and I recently went out to Pittsburgh. We talked to some people out there, veterans from all walks of life, just asking the basic question, how do you heal? And seeing what comes out. We've found people everywhere from paragliding or parasailing, and rock climbing, whitewater rafting, surfing, skiing, snowboarding, skydiving. You got to find something that fills up your life afterwards, after the trauma of war. And it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different combination of medicines that they use. And the fact is life is the best medicine. All of the plant medicines, they help, but life is the best medicine. And the great thing about life is you can always increase the dose.
Man, we appreciate you so much coming on. Thanks for putting things in perspective. Thanks for coming home, and thanks for making it a better place with your story, man. You're going to help us remove the stigma and I think change the world, make it a better place. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day, brother.
That's what I hope for. I thank you for having me on.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt Kahl.
Woo! That was
shock to
a
awe.
heck of a story right there.
He's
big
my
boy.
guy. I'm so excited about this event, guys. Get your tickets. They're still available. Tug.com, TUGG.com. Go to the Hoosier Sophisticate page on Facebook. There's a link to buy tickets. There are some that we have to donate to some veterans, first responders, people that are depressed. I saw a guy yesterday that was just somebody posted a meme about a depression scale 1 to 10, and this guy's like, I'm a 13, and I'm like, I've got a ticket for you. If you're in the St. Louis area, I want you to come out. So if you're that person, if you're trapped in your head and your thoughts in a nightmarish reality, come spend a Wednesday with us. We'll have a good time, have a little popcorn, check this thing out, have a little popcorn. Come on out to the Tivoli Theater January 23rd.
We should do ayahuasca commercials like they do pharmaceutical commercials. You know, like pharmaceutical
side effects may include an incredibly unbelievable magical life.
And then the demon comes out. The demon's like, I recommend it. You know what I mean? He set me free. What a thought. You always think the demon is bad and trying to hold on to you.
Yep.
When you flip it to say, oh, no, the demon's just playing its role. It wants to be away from you as much as you want it away from it. You've been imprisoning the demon. Oh, my God.
I'm just going to change my streaming pick on the fly, building on that. Guys, let's jump to a quick break. We'll come back with Sam Lyons, tell some jokes. Tell some jokes, jokey joke, man. No, we got Sam on the other side of the break. This is Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU, 9:20 a.m. We'll catch you on the other side.
Love you.